Kwame was a boy of only 13, but already life had taught him lessons most adults hadn't learned. He had no father, and his mother, Nana, was mentally ill. She spent most of her days talking to herself, wandering the streets of their small village in Togo. Kwame didn't remember a time when things were any different. He was raised by his mother in a tiny shack made of dried palm leaves, barely enough to shield them from the harsh sun or the rain. For years, his mother's illness had worsened, and they had no one to turn to for help. Kwame was forced to grow up fast, learning how to survive the rough streets and how to care for his mother when she became too unwell to fend for herself. Despite the hardships, Kwame was a bright boy. He had dreams of learning, dreams of a life far better than the one he had now, but like many others in his village, education seemed like an impossible dream. School was a luxury for the rich children, and Kwame's mother had never been able to pay for his fees. It was during one of his rare moments of escape from the endless routine of street life that he met Sita, the daughter of a successful businessman from the city. Sita was a bright and hardworking student, though she struggled with certain subjects. One day, while Kwame was sitting under the shade of a mango tree, he saw Sita sitting alone, surrounded by piles of textbooks. Curious, Kwame walked over to her. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice soft but sincere. Sita looked up, surprised. "I'm just trying to understand this math problem, but I can't seem to get it," she confessed. Kwame, though not formally educated, had a natural gift for learning and problem-solving. He squatted beside her and quickly scanned the textbook. "You have to start by breaking it down into smaller parts," he explained patiently, pointing to the problem on the page. Sita was taken aback. "You understand this?" she asked, amazed. Kwame nodded. "I may not have gone to school, but I've learned a lot by watching others." Over the next few weeks, Sita and Kwame met regularly under the mango tree. Despite their differences, they bonded over their shared love of learning. Kwame began teaching Sita things he had picked up from his observations: math, reading, and even history. In return, Sita taught him things about the world outside the village, stories of faraway places, and dreams that seemed too far for someone like Kwame. One day, Sita's father stops by and sees this unkempt boy talking to his daughter. He grabs Sita's arm and pulls her away from Kwame. He proceeds to yell, "Get away from my daughter!" All Sita could do is stare back at Kwame as she is being dragged away by her upset father. In a soft-toned voice, you hear Sita say, "But father, that boy is my friend." Sita's father responds, "You don't have friends that look like that. You hear me? Now let's go." Weeks go by with no contact from Sita, and all Kwame can do is just be grateful he had a chance to meet a girl that actually wanted to talk to him. One fateful afternoon, Kwame returned home after his usual walk to the village market. He'd gone out to buy some water for Nana, but as he neared his small shack, he saw something that made his heart race. His bags, the ones he used to carry food and water for his mother, were lying on the sidewalk, next to a tattered envelope. The envelope had a note scribbled on it in bold handwriting. It read, "I haven't forgotten you. Come to the school tomorrow. We'll make a way. Sita." Kwame's heart skipped a beat. What was this? Was it possible? Could Sita really help him? He glanced at his mother, who was sitting in the corner, muttering to herself. She didn't notice him as usual. The thought of a better life, an opportunity to learn, to escape the streets, filled Kwame with hope and fear all at once. He grabbed the bags, clutching the note tightly, and ran to the small school just outside the village. The next day, Kwame stood outside the gate of a school he had only ever seen from a distance. The children there wore uniforms and walked with confidence, holding their books. To them, this was just another day. But for Kwame, it was a moment that could change his life forever. He waited by the gate, his heart pounding. He could feel the weight of the note in his pocket. After what felt like an eternity, he saw Sita walking toward him. Her face lit up when she saw him. "You came," she said with a smile, and Kwame nodded. "I don't belong here," Kwame muttered, looking down at his ragged clothes and dirty feet. "Of course you do," Sita said firmly. "You're here to learn, and that's all that matters." With that, Sita led him into the school. The teachers stared, some with confusion, others with disbelief. But Sita's father, a respected businessman in the village, had made arrangements for Kwame. It was an unspoken truth. Sita's family had the power to make things happen. Somehow, over the weeks, Sita convinced her father to help out that unkept little boy named Kwame. It took some convincing, but her father has always had a soft spot for his lovely daughter and never liked to see her sad. Over the following weeks, Kwame became a regular at the school. Sita helped him with his lessons, and the teachers, though initially skeptical, soon saw Kwame's potential. His mind was sharp, and his thirst for knowledge was insatiable. Kwame still couldn't believe that this was his life now. No longer did he have to sneak into classrooms or sit on the sidelines of education. He was a student, an equal among the other children, learning the same things they were. But it wasn't just the lessons that changed Kwame. It was the people around him. They no longer saw him as the barefoot boy from the streets. He was Kwame, the student, the young boy with a bright future. One day, after a particularly tough lesson in mathematics, Kwame sat on the school bench, staring at the numbers on his paper. He didn't know how, but everything was finally starting to make sense. And for the first time in his life, Kwame smiled. A smile that didn't come from surviving, but from hope. From the realization that his life was no longer bound to the streets. Months passed, and Kwame's friendship with Sita grew stronger. She continued to support him, encouraging him whenever he doubted himself. And though Kwame had come from nothing, he now felt like he was part of something bigger, something that included the promise of a future. One afternoon, as they sat under the mango tree again, Sita handed him a small notebook, just like the one she carried. "For your lessons," she said with a smile. Kwame accepted it, feeling the weight of the gift. "Thank you, Sita. I don't know how to repay you." "You don't have to," Sita said softly. "Just keep learning. Keep showing the world that anything is possible." Kwame smiled, the notebook clutched tightly in his hands. He had come a long way, from a boy on the streets to a student with a future. And with Sita by his side, he knew that no matter how hard life got, he would never have to face it alone again. From that day forward, Kwame walked through the school gates with his head held high, a young boy no longer defined by his past, but by the promise of his future.